Okay, so in this video I wanted to cover the IRS Form 1125A. This is a form that's included with a variety of different types of tax returns, and it's used to reconcile your cost of goods sold calculation. You would have a cost of goods sold calculation if you're a business that keeps inventory, right? So if you have beginning inventory, ending inventory, the movement in those accounts during the year is generally your cost of goods sold expense that's deducted on the tax return, okay? So 1125, it can be filed with an 1120, 1120S, or 1065. It's the same version of the form. We have an example here that we'll go through as well for an e-commerce business. But again, it's the same type of form regardless of whether it's being applied to an 1120 corporate return, S-corp return, or if you have a partnership. Okay, so let's look at an example here. The company has beginning of the year inventory of 150,000, Jan 1, 2020. During the year, the company purchased new inventory of 75,000, and then at the end of the year, the company counted up its inventory and it saw it had $45,000 left. So how do you compute its cost of goods sold? Well, the cost of goods sold is going to be 180,000. So how do we get there? Well, in order to compute cost of goods sold, you take beginning of year inventory, the 150, you add the purchases during the year, right? Purchase 75,000 of new inventory, and then you would subtract out whatever you've got at the end of the year, right? And so they've counted up their inventory, they have 45,000 left over, which means that during the year they sold $180,000 worth of product, okay? Now the 180,000 cost of goods sold figure, it's going to be reported on the 1125A, but then ultimately transferred to page 1 of the relevant tax return as a deduction for cost of goods sold, right? And that's used to arrive at gross profit for the company. So if we look at the example here, these are the same numbers. We've got our e-commerce company up here. The EIN goes up in the top right-hand section here. And then we've got a reconciliation of our numbers, right? So inventory at the start of the year was 150. 75,000 worth of purchases. Now, if you have labor costs or other costs that are inventoried, then you would have those down here. Cost of labor would be something to the effect of if you were actually manufacturing your own product, right? So you had direct labor costs that were going into building the product. But in this case, the e-commerce company, this fact pattern, they just buy their inventory from a wholesaler, store it, and then flip it, right? So they resell it via their platform because they're an e-commerce dropshipper, right? So add up all the lines 1 through 5, 225,000 is the total. Inventory at the end of the year is 45,000, right? And then so you would subtract line 7 from line 6 and you arrive at the 180,000. Now you should complete the rest of the form as well, right? How do we value closing inventory? We're using the cost basis method. If you have LIFO or FIFO, you would indicate such as here. And then, of course, if there was any other adjustments, right? So, for example, if you change your accounting method at valuing and ending inventory, so if you, for example, if LIFO inventory was adopted during the year, you would check the box here and include a 970 form. But again, in this case, that's not what we're doing. Okay, and then questions E and F, answer these yes or no depending on how they apply to your company, right? So 263 Cap A doesn't apply here because they're a small taxpayer. And then no change in quantities, costs, or valuations between opening and closing inventory, right? So we're using the same valuation methods at the start of the year as we are at the end of the year, okay? And then that's the rest. That's it. That's all the form requires. If we go back to the slide here, some of these just points I want to highlight here for inventory methods for small taxpayers. So if you're a small business with 25 million or under in gross receipts, under the tax reform that was passed in 2017 now allows you to actually deduct all your inventory when purchased. So you don't even have to track beginning and ending inventory if you don't want to. And that can be preferential, right? Because it would effectively have larger deductions. But again, you'd have to keep your books and records internally under that method, and then that method would also be reflected on the tax return. Okay. The last point here, if a company wants to change its accounting method, you can do that. But in order to do so, you have to file a method change. So Form 3115 is an accounting method change request. Some of them are automatic, some of them need IRS approval, but if you do want to change your accounting method for how you track your inventory on your tax return, you're going to have to file a method change via Form 3115. So that covers it for this form. Hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thank you.